Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of this awesome series called Communities Unite. Today I'm joined with two great people who are great friends with each other. So I'm joined with Gabs and Brooke, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really cool mixture episode because we're going to be talking about we're going to talk IBD, like Crohn's, Ulcerative Colitis, autism as well, and drama, because we all like drama here, and acting. So it's going to be really nice to speak to you all again. So Gabs, would you mind introducing yourself first?
Yeah, my name's Gabs. It's short for Gabrielle. At the minute, I live in Barnsley, South Yorkshire, but I also spend my time between where I'm originally from, which is North Wales. I'm 23, and this is my second time with a podcast with Mason, so it's exciting to be back.
Yeah, because we always keep in contact. We always talk anyway, don't we? So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's great to have you back again.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah. Brooke, hello again.
Hello, my name is Brooke. I'm 27 years old. I'm originally from Hull, but I lived in Barnsley for 3 years to study acting at uni, and it's also where I met Gabs. It's really great to be back on the podcast talking to you, Mason, and I'm really looking forward to this chat about different topics.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. And I don't know, I said last time, Brooke, but the last time I went to Hull, I went to see a football match, and my team lost. So
Oh dear.
and Hull won, so I don't really like Hull. But yeah, it's great to have you both back. Because like it's gonna be really cool to talk about a mixture of things. So I guess maybe we could talk about drama to start with, because we all like acting, don't we? And
Yeah.
like how are you guys doing on like the acting, like drama kind of thing?
I'm not really doing any professional work at the moment. The last bit of acting that I've done is that I've recently completed a 4-week course up in Manchester. It was from a company called Thinking Actors, who Peter Carroll owns. I did the classes with him. They were really good. I've even got some footage of myself acting, which I've got saved on my phone. But recently I'm performing in a Christmas pantomime at the end of next month, and at the end of April next year I am going to be starring in a musical, which both these shows I'm doing with a company called State of the Arts Academy, who are a drama, well, not a drama school, but they're a performing arts school in Hull. There's many of them. But I have been part of State of the Arts Academy for 3 years, about a couple of months after finishing uni. And it's basically where I've been learning skills in musical theatre, and it's where I continued having singing lessons.
Oh, it sounds really cool stuff. Like you've got a Christmas pantomime going on and stuff going on next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds really fun. Like I always enjoy going to like the Christmas kind of pantomime.
Yeah. Yeah, I love going to the Christmas pantomimes. I'm going to the one in Hull, which starts in about a couple of weeks' time, Jack and the Beanstalk. And I've been to see a lot of the pantomimes at Hull Theatre, and they are just amazing. Favourite type of theatre to watch.
Yeah, it's really good. Like it's funny as well. Like yeah. Like I haven't been for a few years, but the last time I went, when I do go, it's normally you recognise the same actors from the year before quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, you sometimes get a big name along with somebody else that has been in the show before. There's a guy in this panto that was in the last panto that I went to see. It was the last one before COVID. And that was also good. Yeah, all the pantomimes that you feel were good.
Yeah, sounds really cool stuff you're going to be doing, Brooke, soon then.
I absolutely love doing panto. I did an adult one in my first year at uni. And last year I did one at Walton Club, which is the first pantomime that I did with State of the Art Academy, Peter Pan, one of my favourite shows I've done. And I am really enjoying this one that I'm in at the moment. And I can't wait to perform it next month.
You have to let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will share. I will try and share.
Yeah. Gabs, how are you doing with like drama acting kind of stuff?
Well, for me, it's a bit boring because I haven't done anything really since I left uni, because I spoke to you on the last podcast, Mason. Like my health wasn't that great since leaving uni. So acting wise, I've not really done anything, although it's something I want to do and it's my passion. Doing any like amateur or professional work, I've just not done any. The only thing I can say being closest to it is I do help my partner with his self-tapes for his roles that he auditions for. That's as close as I've got to it at the minute. But it's something I do want to do, and hopefully I'll get there one day. But at the minute, it's just sort of been put on hold of it. But I do love a good pantomime as well. I go to see one every year. There's quite a few nice ones in North Wales, but we go to, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it, when your health kind of stops you doing the things you really want to do.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Like I am a lot better than what I was, but just not 100% for me to go do something like acting, because it's not just like a normal job in a way. It's a lot. There's a lot more to it. And even me just having a normal job just at the minute, like I'm struggling with at the minute. So although I'm a lot better, I am getting there. I just need to get that little bit further before I can start thinking about all that stuff again.
Yeah, it's very hard, I think, now, especially with a lot of like the rules of like COVID are not there really anymore, are they? And it's hard for people, like especially at work, to anyone, not just drama, to understand your situation. Because I found that really hard, like as well, especially with everyone stopping. So it's just really hard to get to a place where you trust the people. Like if you're going to miss maybe a month or a couple of weeks, they'll understand.
Because it's so unpredictable, it's quite hard, because you just worry about whether your employer or whoever you're working with is understanding about your condition and your needs and stuff. And if they're not, then it would make it extremely difficult. But yeah, that's probably the biggest worry as well.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, because like even now with like even going out in public, like because Brooke, you might be able to relate to this a little bit with autism, because like with being vulnerable on the IBD front, you may not want to be too close to people, and then you ask them, can you move back? And I've done it a couple of times, and you get three scenarios. You either get one that they're really friendly and they say, oh okay, and then, which is very rare. That's a very rare. And then you have one where they say they don't have COVID. That is one that comes up a lot. They say I don't have COVID, and then the last one you'll get they'll just get really stroppy with you, and they'll get really offended.
I completely get what you mean by that, because I've got I work somewhere in town, and I get people coming up to me asking me questions whether I'm at work or not, and sometimes they can get a bit closer, and it's just I think in a way it does make me feel uncomfortable, because I just think, why are you coming closer to me when you're asking me this question? I don't make a big deal over it. It just makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Especially with the rules being relaxed as well. Everybody seems to forget, but like for some people, like people can't just forget, like the vulnerable people, or even just people who are wary of it and just don't want it. you don't have to have a reason for why you don't want to be in close contact, or how you still want to be a bit wary. Like, I'd like to think I'm a bit more relaxed than how I was height pandemic, as everyone else is, but I don't think I forgot about it, and it's still always there at the back of my mind, which I think is important.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I know we're not in a pandemic anymore, and there are still people that go out and wear masks, and I completely get why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just glad that everything is just normal. I think this year, we've learned to live with COVID.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, people are still going to get it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be as bad as what it was in the last 2 years.
We know more about it now, I think, and although it's still scary and it's still holding a lot of people back, it's just, you just sort of have to be considerate about them, people who are still struggling with the whole idea of COVID and everything like that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, because everyone's different. Like, everyone's going to be in a different scenario. Like, for some people, the pandemic's probably over for them, and like for the extremely vulnerable people, it's not for them as well. Like, I remember one scenario. I went to get in my Doctor Who magazine, which I get every month, and I go on the day of release, and it wasn't at this specific shop. I went with my mum, and I didn't say anything because I was too anxious. But my mum was asking this person who was there, putting the books on the shelves, and she said to him, "Do you know where the Doctor Who magazine is? It's out today." And he was, I think there was a picture on my phone, which it was shown to the person, and like, it was getting close, almost like you're gonna kiss each other, like that close, and then you say something else to him, you tell him to go away politely, and then you come to the terms where polite is not even a thing anymore, because you have to say stay back. And then it didn't help because he didn't know where it was anyway. Considering he was putting the books on the shelves.
Oh.
Yeah, but COVID or not, I don't like being close to anyone anyway. So I don't get the reasons people just don't think before they get close.
Yeah.
No, they don't. I think that's true. I mean, there are no rules now. All the rules have been relaxed, and I think it's their own personal choice now. I mean, I don't want to get too close to others, but I'm all right with if it's somebody that I know. But if it's someone I don't know, just a random person, I wouldn't want to be like really close to them.
Yeah, because people can be walking around with COVID now and you just don't know. Like what Brooke said, like, I'm fine around people I know because I like to think if they had COVID, they would obviously let me know, before meeting up or anything. Whereas if they didn't, I'll be pretty shocked, because obviously everybody knows how I'm a bit more vulnerable than most people. So when you go places where there's strangers about, you don't know if that person has COVID, where, yeah, they're allowed to go out with COVID and things, it's not against the rules. But it's just having that wariness of, like, somebody could have it who's standing right next to you, or so that's why I'm more comfortable, like what Brooke said, around my friends, because you sort of know more then.
Yeah, you can, like, when one of my friends has COVID and they've had it, I am more I feel more safe if I was to meet up with them.
Sorry, mine frozen. I've just come back.
I think mine froze a little bit as well.
I did it.
Mine's been all right.
Yeah, but that's funny, knowing that Brooke was the one whose internet wasn't working at the start. That's funny. But yeah, when someone has COVID that I know, I feel more safe because they've already had it. So I feel more safe to be more around them than maybe someone that hasn't had it. Because I feel like in ways they've had it. I guess it's more better for me to be around someone that's had it and not in a way. But yeah, it's very hard when you are vulnerable.
Yeah, I think, do you know, if I was near someone who actually has got COVID, it would make me feel a bit uncomfortable because I don't want to risk going near that person and catching it. But I have been in the same room as somebody that has had COVID. But I was really lucky enough to keep my distance and just carry on.
Especially now, because I had COVID in April. And in the household I was with, all of us had it at the exact same time. So that wasn't as bad because we didn't have to isolate. We could be all around each other because we literally started symptoms all at the same time, tested positive more or less on the same day. But now because I've had it, like, it's still, in a way, it makes me more wary because I don't want it again. I don't want to feel like how I did. Like, even just getting ill with just a cold or anything, like, I can get quite ill with them. So if somebody's got a cold who I know, I'm like, stay away from me. I don't want your cold. I don't want COVID. Because of my immune system, it can make me feel quite unwell. I was ill not so long ago, not of COVID. I recovered, and obviously with my immune system being low anyway, and me just having a cold, I then caught another thing more or less 3 days later. So it was like a full-on about 3 weeks where I was ill with 2 different things. So yeah, obviously it's fine, like, people get colds and stuff, but if I can avoid it, I'll be like, please stay away.
Yeah, yeah, it's very hard because, like, it's got, like, it's really hard to even tell for really what a normal cold and COVID, because they're very similar in ways. But yeah, we've got to try and do things, I guess, as when we can do them anyway.
Yeah.
But Brooke, I mean, sorry, Gabs, how are you doing, like, with your ulcerative colitis?
Well, since I last spoke to you, so since I last spoke to you, I had an operation. So I was initially gonna go for stoma bag surgery, and it was sort of all going ahead because my symptoms weren't really improving that much. But then they came back to me and asked me if I would be interested in an experimental surgery. So that involved taking the appendix out, and a bit of your bowel. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think it's called the sacrum. It's what attaches your large and small bowel together. So I had a part of that removed. So I did go for the experimental surgery because I thought I might as well try it. And I had improved, my symptoms had improved before leading up to the surgery, like just with my meds. So I had that operation in October last year, the experimental one. I'd say it didn't make me any better, but it didn't make me any worse either. So I've sort of been that same level, like consistent, up until about a few weeks ago, really. But obviously I have been a lot better since I've last spoke to you, Mason, but I've just not been 100% there. Like, the thing I was struggling with was urgency. So I'll be going a lot less, like, my bowel movements were a lot better and stuff, but on the odd occasion I'd have urgency, and that was something I sort of wanted to tackle. So that's what I've been trying to sort out. I've been trying to get appointments with my consultant, but it's sort of been a bit of a long time because I got taken off their like records because I transferred over to surgical to have my experimental surgery. And then when I came back, I've been trying to get an appointment for about 8 months now. But a few weeks ago, like, my symptoms have slightly got a bit worse. I was on antibiotics for a problem with my teeth. So I think that messed my stomach up because it's quite common for antibiotics to mess your stomach up, which it did. But since I've stopped the antibiotics, they didn't really go back to it. my stomach didn't go back to normal. And I'm on vedolizumab still. That's a medication I still take, so I inject myself every 2 weeks. But it got to the point where it was getting really painful. So I've been in contact with my IBD nurse saying, like, it's really painful, like I've been struggling to take it. And it got to 6 weeks and I hadn't taken it. And I'm supposed to be having a nurse come out to see me, but that's not until the end of November. And I just felt like I couldn't wait and not be on any treatment. I still take my oral meds, my Celofelt granules, which is fine. But with my injection, I felt like I was like, I just need to be brave and try do it, because I can't wait more longer just to see if it helps my symptoms at the minute. So I did that last week. Not much change. I don't know if it's because the mixture of the antibiotics I was on and because of no meds, or whether it's just happened. But and I'm just waiting on an appointment with my consultant. It was in January. It got moved to February. It got changed again to another date in February. I can't even remember the date now. So I might just have to ring my IBD nurse, like, in the meantime, and just sort of chase it up a bit. So yeah, so other than that, I've sort of been the same until like these last few weeks, because there was just that one more thing I needed to sort, and it was about urgency, just to ask for some advice about that with my consultant, see if there's anything they can do. But apart from these last few weeks, that's sort of where I'm at, just nearly there, but not quite there yet. So it's a bit frustrating because it's been a long time now.
Yeah. Well, like it's hard, isn't it? Because like you just want to get things sorted and have to wait. It's annoying because, like, I think I was supposed to have a consultant. Like, I've at least, unless something goes wrong with my Crohn's, I don't see my consultant until, like, I'll see him like every once a year. Like, since I last spoke to you, I've had done a sigmoid osteopathy last year, where I had an enema. I had an enema for that one, which weren't very friendly. There's a lot of blood involved after having it. I had gas in air for that one, and I'll keep wanting more because it wasn't making me laugh. I was figuring it. Why is it not making me laugh? I'm going to have to try more. And then the person takes it away, saying you can't just keep having it because you want to see that. And then when I was in pain, I didn't have it. So I was like, yeah. But since then, I've had that done. And I was supposed to have my consultant meeting on December, but that's got for January now. Sometime January, who knows, it might be February like you. Yeah. But
well, I've been after it since, like, because I got just charged from surgical, so I've not seen my consultant way before my operation, so I sort of really need this appointment, and I've been after it since March, and it got booked for July, then August, and then it cancelled, and then I had to ring up and rebook it again, so that just added more time on. But yeah, I understand how, like, it is busy and everybody needs appointments recently, but it can get a bit frustrating, especially when it's been about 6 or 7 times it's been cancelled now. So
yeah. Like, the thing I don't like is when I go to an appointment. Like, even Brooke, you might relate to this. Like, when you go to an appointment, it doesn't even have to be IBD related. It could be any appointment, and I get there for a certain time, and then I'm here waiting an hour later to get in to the appointment. I don't like that.
Yeah, that can be annoying.
Yeah, from the few doctor's appointments that I've been going to this year, and a couple of counselling appointments, because my mental health and wellbeing has just been up and down on top of my autism. And when I do turn up for my appointments, well, particularly for the doctors, I don't wait for that long to see a doctor, and I'm just in there just like that. And with me counselling, I turn up about 5 minutes or right on time for my appointment, and sometimes, but there are some days where I do turn up a couple of minutes late, and that really it really gets my stress levels going, and I'm like panicking because I thought if I'm more than a certain amount of time late, I'm not going to be able to have the appointment. But I just don't really like being late for them appointments, because I feel like they are essential, and I need it to help me get better with my mental health. And I think what it's doing for me, it's making a huge difference to me, and I haven't got many appointments left, so I'm hoping I'll be a lot better within myself, because I have been through, well, I'd say this year for me has been a bit of a challenging year compared to the last 2 years, and I've just basically been learning how I can get through stuff more.
Yeah, it is. It's like a process, isn't it? Like I thought like this year would be like better for me to do different things, and like things get stop you from doing that, and it is annoying when you have things that you can do, and like I've had to cancel quite a lot of things, and that people don't understand why. They just think I don't want to do it, and it's not that I don't want to do it. It's not because I don't have any confidence. It's because like things stop us from doing the things we like to do, fortunately. But
Yeah, I would say for me, I'd say it's been a good year, but it's also been challenging. I've overcome a lot, especially with my autism. And about a couple of weeks ago, something that I have done this year, well, a couple of months ago, I did an online course about understanding autism, and I've learned a lot more info about autism itself.
yeah, that is really good, because you're learning more about it, because there's so much to learn about autism.
Yeah, there is. For like, I've learned this thing. One of the symptoms of autism is sensory sensitivities, which I don't think I have suffered from growing up, but it was really interesting to learn about it and to see how it affects different people at different ages who are on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I've never had any sensory sensitivities, and they've never been high alert for me, but it was interesting to learn about that for me.
Yeah, like with my ulcers, I'm quite sensory. Like eating at the dinner table, I don't like people being loud. Like if in my head I'm not being loud, and people being loud, I think, why are you being loud and I'm not? Yeah, like
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. In like, well, for me, the only bit of sense, I don't get hugely affected by the senses, but something that does really bother me is when it's busy in a certain shop or in your local town, and there's just like loads of people, loads of talking in the background, and loads of noise, and it gets me a bit anxious, because I thought, why? It's getting me a bit anxious because there's loads of people, and they're all going out and about, and they could get in your way, and I'm just like, oh, I don't like it. But I want to try and put up with that better.
yeah, especially at this time of the year, like Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's
As someone who doesn't, what was it, froze.
You back?
Oh, I'm back. Yeah.
What was you gonna say, Gabs?
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, obviously I don't have autism, but as somebody, like I know people who are autistic, obviously you too. I have close family members who have autism. So I've sort of like grown in that environment, and what I find like really fascinating in a way is how different like each one of you are like to each other. Like there's not just one way to be autistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like it's so individual to anyone who has autism. Like they say, it's a spectrum, isn't it? So it's just like really fascinating to see that and just learn about every individual person and like how they're different to one another. I find that really fascinating in a way.
Yeah, I completely agree what you said there, Gabs. I feel like every person on the spectrum is different in terms of the way they act and stuff. And yeah, everyone acts in a different way, and their autism affects them in such a different way.
Yeah. And it's the same with IBD as well. You can look at like two people with IBD, but IBD just isn't a thing which everybody will experience the same. Just like autism, like people will experience different things. Like two people have a completely different experience of who have the IBD, like compared to each other. Like their journey will just be completely different to one another. And I think it's good to have that mindset about any condition, whether it's mental or physical or anything like that. It's good to have that mindset of not everybody's going to be the same with the same condition. You're all going to experience it in a different way.
That's true.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're both saying there, because it is like everyone's different with autism. Everyone's different with IBD. Like you may similar things might come across to different people. Like I've met a few people that actually have Crohn and autism, like me. So which is it's interesting, because it's rare that you find a person that has IBD and autism both. Which
I suppose it's quite nice as well, though, when you like find people like that, even though like you still be completely different with your experiences, but it's sort of nice to have that like connection.
yeah, like it's nice because you get to meet friends as well. Like, it's nice that we all speak, because like we all relate to each other in ways. Like with Brooke with autism and IBD with you, Gab. So yeah, it is really it's really cool just to speak about these things. Because like with autism, especially, with still a lot of stuff need to be done about it, because lots special education, like not enough is done there to support people with it. And I think IBD as well, not enough there with IBD, because it's just really hard to speak about those things like when you're at school and stuff, because you don't expect people to understand. Like you won't, you're not going to maybe say what your situation is, because you know they will maybe backtrack at you and not be very nice about it.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Listen, it's like when I try to explain somebody about my autism, I really struggle to put the words into describing the condition, and as best as I could describe it, I'm just not certain if they're gonna get my point. But I am grateful for anyone that does get my condition and just gets an idea of how it affects me personally.
Just being understanding as well. Like people aren't gonna fully understand unless they go through the same or similar. But even just having that understanding and just sort of respect that these are your needs. They may be different to yours, but please respect them. There just needs to be more awareness of that.
Yeah, I feel like in general for both of our conditions, I think there needs to be more awareness on them, because they are not often talked about. But I just think there needs to be more awareness in what we go through within our health, and I don't think not enough people understand. So I think it's great to have that understanding for people to get us.
Yeah, and it's good to be open about it as well. obviously ever since I've known you, Brooke, you've always been open about your autism, but obviously when I was in uni, I think like you knew like something was wrong with me, but I'd never say what, because
Yeah.
that was a personal thing with me. I was too embarrassed at the time and I just couldn't be open. Obviously there was no need for me to feel like that, but eventually I got there, I overcome that, and now I'm open, and now I'm doing this podcast with you all. So I think it's about being open as well to raise awareness.
I noticed that from going to uni with you. I knew there was something wrong with you, but you didn't want to, you wanted to keep it to yourself, and I completely respected that. I was like that with, well, I'm partly like that with my autism. It's something that I want to keep to myself, but something that I do because I want people to be aware of it. But now that I've learned a bit more about autism and the support I've got on it as well, it just makes me want to raise more awareness on it. It's not something that I don't talk about on my social media, but I want to find some way to spread more awareness on it, like the podcasts that we've done with Mason, talking about it so that it can help people learn.
I completely agree with what you're saying, because like when I was younger, when I was diagnosed, I didn't like to speak about autism because I was too embarrassed about it, or like, I didn't want to ask for help because I didn't want to. If everyone else knew what they were doing in the class, I don't want to ask a teacher, which I know what they're going to say. They're going to say to me, "Can you try again?" Because they're lazy, or something like that. It took me a while.
I was like that when I was younger in school, but now from my teens into an adult, I've become more independent with studying, and I think it's got me to where I am today.
Yeah, definitely. And like with IBD wise, it took me about 5 years to speak about it publicly. So I know some people out there who get diagnosed and they want to talk about it straight away. I weren't like that. I didn't speak about it. I spoke about it with family, but I didn't go to my friend like, "Hey, look at me, I've got blood on my stools." I didn't do that. Like with you, Gabs, like how long do you think it took you to maybe like create like a social media profile where you talk about your
well, I was diagnosed in 2018 or 19. I can't remember now. I think I was diagnosed in 2018, but I was experiencing symptoms from 2017, and I only created my IBD account in 2020, in October 2020. So it's only been about 2 years I became open. Before that, obviously close family knew, my close friends knew, but even when I started uni, like it's sort of hard to hide because I was in and out of the hospital, and at the time only my friend, another girl called Molly, only she knew about my condition. And then eventually my boyfriend found out as well. Well, not found out, I told him, but it did take me 4 months to tell him, because I just had that embarrassment, and I was like, don't tell anyone else, like on the course, I don't want them knowing. My tutor knew, I sort of had to tell him. But yeah, becoming open, it did take me at least 2 years, maybe a bit longer, just to tell people. And then even like some of my friends like from school, they didn't really fully know what it was, until I like felt comfortable enough to tell them, because I just thought people wouldn't understand. Like in my head as well, I just sort of thought it would go away, even though it hasn't and it won't. But yeah, I think I did really struggle with becoming open, and even now, like going to do posts on my social media about it, I still have that worry, like, oh, what are people going to think? Like I have that constantly, which is something that needs to be overcome. But once, it's hard to get out that mindset. You just worry what people think all the time.
I understand that. Like you do good though with like raising awareness. Like I think you did one, was it yesterday, about like it's not your fault, which is good message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just simple. It's just not your fault. A lot of people can be hard on themselves for whatever condition they have. Like, oh, is it something if I did this differently, would I be the way I am now? And it doesn't work like that. And some people have to understand that it's not your fault the way you are, but it is the way you are, and just embrace it.
Yeah. I think sometimes we all have down days, don't we? Like you think, why have we got this? Like if you're going through a tough time, like like especially when you're in a tough time. If you're doing a good time, you don't think about that as much. But you can have your hard days, but still do things like play a game. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard, I guess, isn't it? Because obviously, how I am now, I'm always wondering, will I ever be able to do acting? Can I get past the stage I am now? Will I ever be able to move forward and basically carry on with my life? And that's always there. And like, it is quite hard to like come to terms with it. But then there'll be the days where I'll be going through a really bad day, and I'll be like, I need to not be so hard on myself. Like, there'll be good and bad days, and you just gotta hope for the best and just keep trying to get your health. Like, obviously, I know the way I am now, it might not be forever. There might be other things which will help me get my life back, but you just got to take it one step at a time. And what I always think as well is, don't set a time limit, because you can't put a limit on your health. You can't say, I'll be better in 2 weeks, I'll be better in 2 months, because I always had that in my mind. So I always thought this time in 4 months, and when it's got to that 4 months and I've either not improved or I'm not where I want to be, that really, like, it's quite like hard for me. So I try not to set, obviously, yeah, it's good to set goals and stuff, but you can't put a time on how long you'll get better or be in remission or anything like that. It just doesn't work like that.
No, it's like you just got to wait. It's like it's a waiting game, really, isn't it? Like, it's just saying, like,
and it is really annoying, but you just gotta do it.
yeah, we're the people who waited. But yeah, it is annoying, but I guess the longer you wait for good things happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Like each year I've been wanting. I started doing driving lessons before pandemic, like first year, and because I haven't been able to, like being vulnerable and stuff, and I don't want. I've been having to stop it, and something else I like doing is football coaching. And I've had to stop doing that, so I've had to stop doing things as well, and it's not nice. Like you find other things to do, like I don't know. If you've got a dog, take it for a walk. I don't have a dog, but just an example.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can still do things if you're not, like acting, for example. You can still possibly do acting at home. Like
yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Like that's what I do. I'm not professional. I'll do some acting at home, and like it is fun. Like you can just act as like your favorite character in a film or something, a soap maybe. I don't know. Emmerdale, Coronation Street.
Even doing some script writing just to sort of keep doing that. That is a good idea.
That is a good idea. I have done a couple of script writing, and I've really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't share my work unless it's like to a professional standard. But it's a skill to learn.
Yeah. Like you could even do we could even do our own film. Like you could do about IBD there, like what it's like to not doing things that you actually want to do or something. Like you're acting part of that, like showing that maybe how isolating it is, not going out.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I've had like ideas of oh, like with this time I'm not actually doing acting, like just exactly what you said, Mason, I can be doing stuff at home. Then it sort of gets to the motivation, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have the motivation to do it. So that's like another thing that needs tackling. But like you said, I can be doing like that stuff at home, like relating it with my IBD, incorporating them both together. But yeah.
Yeah, like, because I'm the same. Like, I want to do acting's up there with one of the things I want to do, but I just can't. Like with not being well. So we could either do our own thing, couldn't we? Like, and you think about it, series on TV. I know it won't be a series on TV, but they take a year to make anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
So
it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. It's not like, well, hang on, we'll talk about how isolating it is indoors for a person with IBD. It's not going to take a week. If it took a week, I'd be very surprised. Like, you could, if you're making it, you've got to use a name, maybe write lines if you want. You might just want to do it on the top of your head to start with. So it's a good idea to just keep yourself occupied. So maybe you're doing things.
Yeah.
But even you could even incorporate autism into that as well, Brooke. As well.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's enough stuff on autism, so that could be interesting. Like, probably a film about someone living with autism. I think that would be really interesting film idea.
Yeah, like I saw a person who has autism came on podcast last year, and that they sent me a video of a little clip they done, which is really good, because like you know when you're on a train, it's really action packed, like really close space. Like that film was in the mind of an autistic person, because in the mind of an autistic person, that there are load more people in their mind. Like, you see all the noises really carefully and stuff like that. So that is on the mind of probably of a sensory person. But for you, if you don't like, for example, like it could be a Christmas film, possibly maybe for next Christmas or something. I don't know, because you say like you don't like how busy it is maybe in maybe in the town. You could do a film of maybe you in the town, and how you're feeling and stuff like that.
Even if it's just, it doesn't have to be like a full-on long film, because obviously that is difficult to do. It could be a short film, it could be like a 5-minute clip, it could even be like a day in the life of a person with autism, and it can literally be like short little clips.
Really like that would be good. It doesn't have to be a full-length film, it can be either a short film or
you can do more than one,
or a mini series.
Yeah,
it would be very interesting.
It'd
be interesting to do a film like that, so that the audience can learn about these different conditions, and it'd be a good sort of film to raise awareness for what we've got.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to all do something together, won't we, or something?
Yeah. I'm up for that.
I'll be up for that.
Yeah, but it'd be cool, because like it's something that it's really fun. It's fun to make. Like we don't really have to learn lines as much. We make them up as we go along, I guess, don't we?
You can have a basis and then just experiment.
It's something that takes time, but like you say, the Gabs, like it could be a 5-minute clip. It doesn't have to be long. And
it can either be something that you're acting in, or it could be more like you sort of talking to camera about it, just to raise awareness. Or again, like I just literally said, you can either act it out, or you could just talk it to camera. You can be yourself, or you could be someone else with it, or you could act how you are with it. There's loads of different ways how you can portray it to raise the awareness.
Like for example, like in my mind, Gabs does like a home video about your like what it's like for you, and then potentially I could go to some field and be really angry about having maybe it could be a time where it doesn't have to be how you're doing right now. You could do it in the past where you've just been diagnosed with Crohn's and you really or ulcerative colitis IBD. You're really angry about it and you want to let out all your emotions and you want to scream saying like why me and stuff like that, which people do feel like, don't they? So you could do things like not how you're doing now. You could, and then you could do one in the past, maybe fast tracking the film to you or something like that.
Yeah, there's a load of ways you can do it, and it would be really fun to do.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it, won't we, more? Yeah, and then figure it something out because it sounds good. Sounds a good idea, that this.
I have done sort of at home films before, but I had to do it for my uni course. So obviously I wasn't in uni anyway. I was working from home because I was ill, but then lockdown hit and the rest of my course had to work from home as well. So for our end of year performance, which we would normally do on a stage, obviously we were all at home, so we all had to make a film. And it was sort of based on lockdown and we all like picked a topic. So we all picked a certain topic, and for each character we'd portray that and what it was like within lockdown. But obviously with that we had to do all the filming ourselves. We had to edit it all together. So, but thinking back to it, it was really fun and it is doable. So
yeah, it's doable. Like you could do maybe sometime early next year and get it ready for Christmas. It could be a Christmas theme thing if you're like Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, or it could be little things to start with, and then focus on like a Christmas kind of type thing, because Christmas kind of films are quite popular to do, but it could be any time of the year, can't it? But yeah, it looks interesting. Brooke, was like ulcerative colitis or IBD when you met Gabs at uni? Was that the kind of the first time you've heard of that?
Well, I didn't really know more about it until Gab set up her account 2 years ago on IBD, and like I knew she had something wrong with her, but I didn't really know. I knew it was kind of serious, but I didn't really know what it was until I've learned about Gab's condition from her other accounts and stuff.
Yeah, so Gabs, you're helping people learn.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is good. Like I think it's good when you create a certain account about a certain thing, because like that's why I did it as well, because I felt I didn't want to post it on my private account, because people like my friends, I think, would get annoyed just seeing about it all the time. But yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, one of the main reasons why I wanted to create my account is I didn't want anyone else to feel alone with the same condition, because obviously I'd been in that situation, like not being open and feeling alone about it, feeling like I'm the only one. But also another reason was to help educate and help other people learn who don't know about it. So then that includes friends and family, just so they have a better understanding through like posts and social media, as you can learn a lot from what people post.
Definitely. I think I always I think it's good to talk about the people who don't have a clue what it is as well, because you talk to them, and it's good when you talk to them because you educate them to what it is.
Yeah,
and
also learning how different, like everybody with IBD or whatever, how different everyone can be with it as well. It's not all just like one size fits all.
Yeah, all different. Like you said earlier, Gabs, I think like autism and IBD are similar in ways where everyone's different, and no one looks like they have it.
Yeah. There's not a specific look, or you don't have to look a certain way. And I assume it's a lot for, well, I know it's a lot for other conditions as well. So there's hundreds.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. You look normal. Everyone can look at you and just think you're normal, but there is something inside that they don't know about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I say now, like I don't know what normal is anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That is
think
true.
I think everyone's weird in their own way. Weird is good. I'd rather be weird than normal.
Yeah. I think everybody has their own normal, but normal to one person will be different to what other person's normal is. So in that way, we're just all individuals.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Despite having autism, for me, I just completely forget about it and carry on as if everything is normal. I just act like a normal person, and I don't let it, and I try not let anything get to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in some situations you do that when people you just don't think they can understand whatever you say.
Yeah, I completely think that. I completely think that a number of people don't understand where I'm coming from. And what really upsets me the most is that they misunderstand me on my actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just want them to be a bit more considerate to,
Yeah,
like, you might react a bit differently or take things a bit differently to how the other person would. So you
yeah,
just want them to have a bit more consideration to how you deal with things.
yeah, definitely. It's not much to ask for, but I just want like same people to be like more considerate for people like me. And you're not going to be certain if they're going to understand you, but it's the way that other people are, and you can only do so much.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Like unfortunately, it's good that everyone's different in the world, but I guess sometimes you wish you didn't have to explain yourself all the time to people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just think that's hard work emotionally, trying to talk to someone about a condition that they're not familiar with and how it affects a person, and getting them to understand it's quite hard because they don't know about it. So it's going to like take them a while to process about how they can be considerate with others.
Definitely. Like yeah, it's very hard. Like I think the first step is when you actually speak about it to someone. And once you've done that, I think you grow confidence. I think getting diagnosed with something actually does grow your confidence in time. Like you're not going to be confident as soon as you get diagnosed with something because you're going to think, why have I got this? Whatever it is. It could be something. It could be autism. It could be IBD, which like like you just want to be understood, and at the end, don't you? Like you get understood what you're talking about, and they don't take the mickey out of you, because that happens
Yeah.
sometimes, doesn't it? Like people take the mickey out of you having a condition which you can't help yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's upsetting, because in moments like that you do get very sensitive on that, and I don't think it's right. It can really offend somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Like I got offended by a person I used to speak to once, and like I sent a picture when I was really ill with my Crohn's, and I said like I said to this person when I showed this, a few people said I don't look ill when I obviously am, because and then that to make it worse, this person said, oh you look healthy, and I said I don't, if that looks healthy then something's wrong, because like as well, Gabs, you know when people lose weight with chronic illness and like IBD, and people compliment you on how well you look, like do
Yeah.
you get annoyed about
A little bit. I try to think, like, for example, if I see somebody and they say, oh, you're looking really well, I do take offense, although I know they're not saying it in a way to hurt me or anything. That they're just saying what they see, but I still have that annoyance. I can't help but not be annoyed, because like I may look fine, but you don't know what it's like on the inside. Like you shouldn't judge somebody off how they look. And although they're being nice and just saying a compliment, I look well, I try not to be like so annoyed, but it can be quite annoying because you're like, well, I don't feel it, but that can be a bit frustrating because it's called an invisible illness for a reason, and people can hide it very well. So yeah.
In an autism sense sometimes, because some people take things quite literally sometimes. If you said, I just think about this now, if you said and that is in like an illness that you can't see, they will think that why are you not invisible then, won't they? I think.
Yeah.
Some people kind of like, well, I can see you, you're not invisible.
Yeah, I do get that as well. Like when I do react differently in certain situations, my emotions are very extreme, and people just don't. When I do act like the way that I do, they just think, why are you making such a big deal? Why are you acting like this? And I'm getting judgment on that. And I thought, this is part of who I am. I can't control myself. But with the help that I've been getting this year, I am learning to control my emotions a bit more. And they just judge you on the outside apart from what's inside.
I think it's really hard to let your emotions like go and stuff. I think I struggle with that as well. Like if I need to cry sometimes, I won't do it in public. I'd more or less do it at home and like hold it in, which you shouldn't do, but I just don't like crying in front of people. So
I don't like getting upset in front of people, but you know, I just struggle with, if I am feeling like that, I would struggle to keep it together. Like if someone's really upsetting me, then I really struggle to hide it. I just needed to let it out.
Yeah, it is really hard because like I once I had a blood test. I went in because of my Crohn's or something, and this person was putting it in the wrong bit. And then I didn't want to say anything, but eventually I think he stopped, and because I had to say something, but I was gonna cry. I wouldn't normally cry at a blood test because they do it right, and then I did actually cry in the end because I couldn't hold it in any longer because it's too painful. But like it's hard, but it's also good for you just to let it out rather than keeping it in.
Yeah.
I think. Do you think that like with pain and like with IBD, Gabs, that's important?
Yeah, I'd say I've had like a few experiences. Like when you said talking about emotions and stuff, I've always sort of been somebody not to really speak out like in certain situations. It depends what it is, but sometimes I'll be a bit too shy or just to say if something's like not right. But obviously with all my experiences and like when I've been in hospital, like being admitted in hospital, like I think once I got comfortable with the situation and sort of knew for myself, because obviously when I was first diagnosed, like hospitals and things were all very new to me. So in a way I didn't know what was right or wrong, but now I've learned and had that experience. If something that isn't going right, I'd like to think I would say now, but I'd say at the start I probably wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have had that. I would have been shy, I wouldn't have had that understanding. But now I would, I think. Yeah,
it takes time, I guess, just to do all that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Last two things before we finish, guys. First thing is I just want to ask, it's off topic a little bit, but I'm just interested. Do any of you believe in the supernatural?
Oh, I think mine's frozen again.
Are we frozen again?
There we go, I'm back.
Are we back?
Yeah, I'm back now. With me, I don't really know. I've not really thought about it enough to come to a decision. Like, obviously, when I like hear things or anything like that, like there'll be some things I'll believe and then not believe. But to say whether I fully do or not, I don't know. I don't think I've thought about it enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it? What about you, Brooke?
It's difficult. It's difficult because you know that most things are not real, but when you do hear like something, or for me, from my perspective, I believe, I do want to believe. For me, I'm a bit in between. I do want to believe it, but then again, it can't be real. So I'm a bit torn on that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to know what I think?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
I believe, because I know a few instances that have happened. Not for myself, but for I've seen, like, a person shared it with me what happened to them once, and yeah, I do believe it, but I don't want to believe it. But I don't like, in the dark. If it's very dark at night and you need a toilet, I will run to my bedroom as fast as I possibly can. I don't know why. I just feel like there's someone there sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Like, some things I believe, some things I don't know, and some things I don't want to, but I think are real. So it's all of a mixture, really.
Yeah, I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps when I watch a horror movie sometimes at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to watch anything that scares me before going to sleep,
Yeah.
because I don't want to risk having nightmares. But I usually, the last thing, but after watching something scary, whether it's a horror film or not, I'd just watch something happy or
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I don't like horror films. If I was going to watch something scary, it might not be scary to someone else, but if it's scary to me, I'd have to watch it with someone. I wouldn't be able to watch it by myself.
Yeah, I don't like. I feel a bit uncomfortable watching scary stuff by myself. I'm just like, why? I prefer
Yeah.
to watch something like proper scary with somebody.
Yeah, like the jump scares and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But so last thing, I'm gonna I forgot who we started with. Oh yeah, I'll do the other way around this time. Like, if you guys want to say anything, last words, or you have any advice, or just anything else you want to say, just to finish. I'll start with you, Brooke. If you have any, do you have anything?
well, it's been a pleasure to be back on your podcast, and it's been also a good pleasure to talk to Gabs and learn a bit more about her condition and how it does affect her. And then like just learn, and then just expanding on opening up about my condition and how things, everyday situations affect an autistic person. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been great to have you back, because I think it was last year sometime, wasn't it, when we did our last
It
one?
was January 2021. It was whilst lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, it was lockdown when we last spoke.
Yeah, so quite a while away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been great to have you back. Brooke.
Thank you.
Gabs, do you have any last things?
Well, yeah, obviously what Brooke said, it's been really nice to be back. And obviously this time with Brooke as well. I think it's been really interesting to sort of speak about both things, and interesting to see how we can both relate, even though they're two completely different conditions. And just like advice for anyone else out there with IBD, just know that you're not alone, and there is a lot of support like online. especially with like anyone with any other conditions. For example, like we've spoken about autism, there's people out there who are going through the same things who you can talk to and know that you're not alone. So with any condition, you don't have to feel isolated. But it has been really nice to learn more about Brooke as well, and like how she deals with things, and you as well, Mason. I think it's been a nice contrast.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. We're not the only ones in this world who feels this way. There are other people that have got the same conditions of us, but just afraid of speaking up about it, and they're not alone. You can talk to someone about it if it's playing on your mind.
You definitely can. And look us, we talked a lot about it today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. It's been awesome, like catching up with you both again. And like yeah. Well, I look forward to doing the film. Of what, like, I wouldn't say just one film. I'll say a couple of films, because I think we'll do a couple, won't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, it just keeps us occupied, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think. So yeah. So to anyone who's watching or listening to this, we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. And yeah, I hope you guys have a nice Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.